Hey there, can you feel that? That quiet shift, the moment the world starts to soften, the noise fades, and you finally let your shoulders drop. This isn't just another video. It's a pause, a breath, a slow descent into the stories that don't shout, but whisper. The ones buried in soot, carved into stone, dreamed in silence. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if this actually means something to you. Only if, in this rush of endless content, this stillness feels like a relief. And if you do, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from? What time is it for you right now? Is it late? Are you the only one awake in your house? Are you wrapped in a blanket? Or maybe staring at the ceiling, just letting the day go? Because honestly, I love knowing who's out there. It makes this feel less like broadcasting and more like sitting around a fire, sharing something real. Now, dim the lights. Maybe close your eyes for a second. Let's go. You're standing in the forge. It's before dawn. The air is already thick with heat. Your hands, already cracked, already blackened, are gripping the bellows, pulling and pushing, feeding the fire that never sleeps. This is your life, not by choice, by blood. You're born into the soot. The smell of scorched iron is the first thing you remember. By 6, you are swinging a hammer. By 10, you could shape a horseshoe blindfolded. But no one sings songs about you. You're not the knight. You're not the priest. You're the man who made the knight's sword, who fixed the priest's gate, who kept the village from falling apart, one bent nail at a time. And yeah, your back aches. Your lungs burn from years of smoke. Your hands, they don't belong to you anymore. They're tools, weapons, survivors. But still, you keep going. Because without you, nothing moves. No plows cut the earth, no carts roll, no doors stay closed. You're not celebrated, but you're needed. And maybe that's enough. Now, let's step back. Not just years, centuries, to a time when fire wasn't just a tool. It was sacred. When a man in ancient Egypt stood by the Nile, watching the black soil rise from the flood, and called it Chemia, the dark, fertile earth of transformation. This is where alchemy began. Not in dusty labs, not in secret symbols, in the dirt, in the body, in the act of becoming. They didn't just want to turn lead into gold. They wanted to turn fear into wisdom, ignorance into light, death into life. And somewhere, in the silence of a temple, a tablet was said to appear, green, glowing, covered in words that would echo for thousands of years. As above, so below. Not a spell, a truth. That the universe is a mirror. That what happens in the stars happens in the soul. And then, underground, deeper than roots, deeper than memory, beneath the fairy chimneys of Cappadocia, there's a world most people never see. Cities, entire cities, carved by hand, 18 stories deep, with ventilation shafts, wells, stables, chapels. One man, renovating his home in 1963, knocked down a wall and found a tunnel. Then another, then a staircase, then a city. 20,000 people could live down there for years. But who built it? And what were they hiding from? Invaders, wars, or something older? Something we don't have words for? Because the thing about these tunnels, they weren't built in fear. They were built with purpose, with precision, with the kind of patience that only comes when you believe the surface world might not be safe anymore. And then, when the day ends, when the fire dies down, when the tunnels go silent, there's sleep. But to the ancients, sleep wasn't escape. It was entry, a doorway. In Mesopotamia, Kings kept dream interpreters on staff. In Egypt, priests slept in temples, hoping the gods would speak. In Greece, the sick would travel for days to lie down in a healing sanctuary, to dream their cure. Because they believed deep in their bones that dreams weren't random. They were messages from the gods, from the dead, from the future. Pharaoh Thutmose IV dreamed the Sphinx spoke to him, promising kingship, and he believed it. Alexander the Great dreamed of a serpent guiding him through Egypt before he ever set foot there, and he followed it, because in that moment, the dream wasn't fantasy, it was destiny. So what happened? Why don't we listen anymore? Somewhere along the way, we traded mystery for answers. We turned dreams into brainwaves, alchemy into chemistry, blacksmiths into footnotes. We built a world that moves fast, but forgets how to feel. But maybe, just maybe, the forge still burns, the tunnels still wait, the dream still speaks. And it's not asking for your attention, it's asking for your trust. That not everything needs to be explained, that some truths are felt, not seen, that transformation doesn't happen in a flash, it happens in the quiet, in the heat, in the dark. So if you're still here, if you made it this far, thank you. You didn't just watch a video, you remembered something, and that matters. Now go on, sleep well, and if you dream tonight, don't dismiss it. Listen, because somewhere, deep beneath the noise of the world, the old stories are still whispering, and they're not done with you yet. There's always more beneath the surface. Because this isn't just a story about blacksmiths, alchemy, underground cities, or dreams. It's about something deeper. It's about the hidden threads that have always connected us, across time, across fear, across silence. So yes, let's go one level deeper. The fire that never dies. You know, there's a quiet truth in all of this. We've always been searching for transformation. The blacksmith didn't just shape iron. He fought entropy. Every hammer strike was a refusal to let things fall apart. The alchemist didn't just chase gold. He believed everything could become more, even the soul, even the world. The people of Cappadocia didn't just hide. They preserved. They built a world beneath the world, not out of fear, but out of love. Love for their children, their faith, their future. And the dreamers, they didn't just sleep. They listened. They believed the night wasn't empty. They believed something was speaking. And maybe it still is, the unbroken line. You and I, we're part of this lineage, not because we hammer iron or read ancient dream books, but because we still feel it, that pull, that whisper. When you lie awake at 3 a.m., heart racing from a dream you can't explain. When you stand in a quiet room and suddenly feel like you're being remembered by someone long gone. When you walk through an old city and swear you've been there before. That's not random. That's echo. The blacksmith's fire still burns in the hands of the artist who works until her fingers bleed. The alchemist's quest lives in the scientist who stares at the stars and wonders, what if? The underground cities live in every person who's ever said, I need to disappear just to survive. And the dream is still speaking to you right now. So what do we do with this? We don't have to believe in magic. We don't have to carve cities into stone or sleep in temples to hear the gods. But we can choose to listen to the quiet, to the ache, to the dream that won't let you go. We can stop treating these stories as ancient relics and start seeing them as maps. Maps for how to endure, how to transform, how to survive the world above by going deep within. we can stop rushing, stop numbing, stop pretending the night is empty, and instead, we can lean in. One last thing before you go. I want to ask you something, not for the algorithm, not for views, but for you. What part of this story felt like it was speaking directly to you? Was it the blacksmith, the one who kept going even when no one saw? Was it the alchemist, the one who believed something greater was possible? Was it the dreamer, the one who trusted what came in the dark? Or was it the one who went underground, not to hide, but to protect what matters? Tell me in the comments, not because I need to know, but because you need to say it. Because sometimes the most powerful magic isn't in ancient texts or hidden cities. It's in naming the part of you that still believes, that still listens, that still hopes. So go ahead, say it. And if this brought you peace, if it made you feel less alone, then yes, subscribe, but only if it provides you peace. And let me know in the comments, because this isn't just a video, it's a gathering, and you're already part of it. Now close your eyes, breathe, and remember, you are not the first to walk this path, and you are definitely not the last. And thank you for staying, for listening, for not turning away when the fire got hot or the tunnels got dark. Because there's one more layer to all of this. Not a fact, not a story, but a question, a quiet one. One that's been building beneath everything we've talked about tonight. So let's pause. Let the silence settle and go deeper. What if they knew something we've forgotten? We've walked through the forge. We've descended into the cities beneath the earth. We've watched alchemists stir fire and stars. We've listened to dreams speak in riddles older than language. But here's the real truth. They weren't just surviving. They were remembering. The blacksmith, hammer in hand, shaping iron under a sky that never noticed him. Do you think he didn't feel it? The weight of time in his bones, the echo of 1,000 ancestors who also swung hammers, who also fed fires, who also passed down tools like sacred relics. He felt it. The man who carved a home into the soft stone of Cappadocia. Do you think he didn't know why he was going underground? That it wasn't just about hiding from invaders, but about returning to the womb of the earth, to the place where life began, to the silence before sound. And the dreamers, oh, the dreamers. They didn't believe dreams were real. They knew they were. Because in the stillness of night, when the body goes quiet, something else wakes up. Something older. Something that doesn't need eyes to see. And here's the thing we've lost. We stopped trusting that knowing. We traded it for proof, for data, for explanations. But what if the ancients weren't wrong? Just speaking a language we forgot how to hear? What if the alchemist wasn't trying to make gold, but was trying to become gold? Pure, refined, unbreakable. What if the underground cities weren't just shelters, but temples? Places where people went to die to be reborn, to meet the gods in the dark? What if the dream wasn't a message from the future, but a memory from the soul of who we were before we were born and who we'll be when we're gone? The unseen thread. There's a thread that connects all of this, not in history books, not in ruins, but in feeling. It shows up when you wake from a dream and can't shake the sense that you were somewhere. You stand in an old forest and feel watched, not by eyes, but by time. You walk into a cathedral or a cave and your voice drops without meaning to. You see a blacksmith's hammer in a museum and your hands ache, even though you've never held one. That's not nostalgia. That's recognition, like your soul has been here before. And maybe it has, because the truth is, we're not so different from the ones who came before. We still shape things with our hands. We still seek meaning in the dark. We still close our eyes and hope something speaks back. The only difference? They didn't call it therapy. They called it prayer. They didn't call it mental processing. They called it the gods whispering. They didn't say, I need to heal. They said, I must dream again. So what do we do now? We don't have to carve cities into mountains. We don't have to sleep in temples to hear the divine. We don't have to believe in literal alchemy or literal prophecies. But we can choose to listen to the quiet, to the ache, to the dream that won't let go. We can stop treating our inner world like noise and start treating it like a voice. Because here's the secret the ancients knew. You are not just living a life. You are living a story. And someone, something, has been telling it for a very long time. Maybe it's your soul. Maybe it's your ancestors. Maybe it's the universe. Or maybe it's all of them whispering at once. One last invitation. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Not for the algorithm, not for comments or likes, but for you. Close your eyes, just for 10 seconds. Breathe and ask yourself, what part of this story felt like it was meant for me? Was it the blacksmith, the one who kept going even when no one saw? Was it the dreamer, the one who trusted what came in the dark? Was it the one who went underground, not to hide, but to survive? Whatever it was, say it, out loud, or in the comments, or just to yourself, because naming it, that's the first step, the first hammer strike, the first step into the tunnel, the first dream you decide to remember. And if this brought you peace, if it made you feel less alone, then yes, subscribe, but only if it provides you peace. And let me know in the comments. Because this isn't just content. It's a quiet rebellion, a return, a remembering, and you're already part of it. Now rest, dream well, and when you wake, listen, because the old world isn't gone. It's just waiting for you to remember it and for you to say, I'm ready, and thank you for still being here, for listening not just with your ears, but with that quiet part of you that knows there's more beneath the surface. We've walked through fire. We've descended into stone. We've listened to dreams like they were sacred. But there's one last thing. Not a story, not a theory, but a feeling. The kind that settles in your chest when the lights are low, the world is quiet, and something ancient stirs behind your eyes. So let's go even deeper. The dream that won't let you go. You've had it, haven't you? That dream. The one that didn't feel like a dream at all. Where you weren't sleeping, you were there. Maybe you were walking through a city carved from rock, lit by oil lamps you'd never seen but somehow recognized. Maybe you were standing in a forge, hands blistered, bellows wheezing, and a voice, your father's, your ancestors, whispered, don't flinch. Maybe you saw a green tablet glowing in the dark with words you couldn't read but knew, as above, so below. And when you woke, your heart was racing, not from fear, from recognition, like you didn't have the dream. You remembered it, and no matter how many times you tell yourself, it was just my brain, a part of you refuses to let go. Because here's the truth the ancients knew. Some dreams aren't made up. They're remembered. Remembered from lives you didn't live in this body, from knowledge buried in your blood, from a soul that's been here before. And maybe, just maybe, the reason we dream isn't to escape reality, is to return to it, to the deeper one, the one beneath the noise, the one where blacksmiths, alchemists, and dreamers still walk, the fire that lives in you. You don't need a forge to be a blacksmith. You don't need a crucible to be an alchemist. You don't need to descend into Cappadocia to live underground. Because the real forge isn't made of stone or iron. It's within you. Every time you choose to keep going when you're broken, you're swinging the hammer. Every time you transform pain into art, grief into wisdom, fear into courage, you're practicing alchemy. Every time you step away from the noise, the rush, the endless scroll, you're going underground, choosing depth over distraction, silence over chaos. And every time you listen to a dream, honor a feeling, trust a whisper, you're not being weird, you're being human, the way humans used to be, before we forgot how to listen. The quiet rebellion. Here's what no one tells you. The world doesn't want you to dream. It wants you tired, distracted, too busy to wonder, too numb to feel. It wants you chasing gold, not the philosopher's stone. It wants you building empires, not underground cities. It wants you working until you break, not asking, what if I could be transformed instead? But you're different. You stayed for this. You listened. You felt that pull. And that makes you part of something older. A quiet rebellion, a return, a remembering. And you don't need permission to be part of it. You already are. One last question. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Not for the comments, not for the algorithm, for you. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask yourself, what am I being called to transform? Is it your pain, your fear, your story? Or is it something bigger, your life, your purpose, your soul? Whatever it is, don't rush it. Transformation isn't a sprint. It's a slow fire, a patient hammer, a descent into the dark. And when it's done, you won't look the same. You'll be more. The invitation, if this brought you peace, if it made you feel seen, heard, remembered, then yes, subscribe, but only if it provides you peace. And if you feel like it, let me know in the comments. What part of this story stayed with you? Did you dream differently last night? Are you, right now, sitting in the quiet, wondering if someone, somewhere, feels this too? Because they do. We do. And this isn't the end. It's the beginning of listening, of remembering, of becoming. So rest well, dream deep, and when you wake, don't forget what you felt here. The fire is still burning, the tunnels are still open, the dream is still speaking, and it's not done with you yet. Love and thank you for still being here, for not just listening, but feeling this, for letting the weight of these stories settle into your bones. Because we're not done. There's one last layer. Not a story, not a fact, not even a theory. Just a quiet truth. The kind that doesn't shout, the kind that waits, the kind that shows up in the stillness, like smoke rising from a fire that never went out. So let's go one final step deeper. The ones who never left. You know, the strange thing about places like Cappadocia, about the blacksmith's forge, about the alchemist's lab, about the dream temples of Greece and Egypt, they're not really gone. Yes, the forges are cold, the tunnels are sealed, the priests no longer sleep in temples to hear the gods. But the energy of them, it's still here, in the artist who works until her hands bleed, in the scientist who stares at the stars and whispers, "What if?" In the person who wakes at 3 a.m., heart racing, from a dream they can't explain, in the one who sits in silence, just listening, because they know something's speaking. These aren't coincidences, they're echoes. The blacksmith didn't die. He became the mechanic who stays late to fix your car, not for the money, but because it has to be done right. The alchemist didn't vanish. She became the therapist who helps you transform your pain into wisdom. The researcher who spends decades chasing a cure. The writer who turns grief into beauty. The people of Cappadocia didn't disappear. They became every person who's ever said, "I need to hide just to survive," only to emerge later, stronger, carrying their family, their truth, their fire. And the dreamers, oh, the dreamers are everywhere. In the mother who wakes up knowing her child is sick before the phone rings. In the soldier who dreams of a place he's never been, only to find it real. In the one who keeps seeing the same symbol, the same face, the same message, night after night. They're not crazy. They're remembering that the world isn't just what we see, that there's a layer beneath, older, deeper, quieter. And sometimes, in the dark, it reaches back. The fire that lives in you. You don't need a hammer to be a blacksmith. You don't need a crucible to be an alchemist. You don't need to descend into stone to live underground. Because the real transformation, it's already happening. Every time you choose to keep going when you're broken, you're swinging the hammer. Every time you turn pain into art, grief into strength, fear into courage, you're practicing alchemy. Every time you step away from the noise, the rush, the endless scroll, you're going underground, choosing depth over distraction, silence over chaos. And every time you listen to a dream, honor a feeling, trust a whisper, you're not being weird, you're being human, the way humans used to be, before we forgot how to listen. The quiet rebellion. Here's what no one tells you. The world doesn't want you to dream. It wants you tired, distracted, too busy to wonder, too numb to feel. It wants you chasing gold, not the philosopher's stone. It wants you building empires, not underground cities. It wants you working until you break, not asking, what if I could be transformed instead? But you're different. You stayed for this. You listened. You felt that pull, and that makes you part of something older, a quiet rebellion, a return, a remembering, and you don't need permission to be part of it. You already are. One last question. Before you go, I want to ask you something, not for the comments, not for the algorithm, for you. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask yourself, what am I being called to transform? Is it your pain, your fear, your story, or is it something bigger? Your life, your purpose, your soul. Whatever it is, don't rush it. Transformation isn't a sprint, it's a slow fire, a patient hammer, a descent into the dark. And when it's done, you won't look the same. You'll be more. The invitation. If this brought you peace, if it made you feel seen, heard, remembered, then yes, subscribe, but only if it provides you peace. And if you feel like it, let me know in the comments. What part of this story stayed with you? Did you dream differently last night? Are you, right now, sitting in the quiet, wondering if someone, somewhere, feels this too? Because they do. We do. And this isn't the end. It's the beginning of listening, of remembering, of becoming. So rest well, dream deep, and when you wake, don't forget what you felt here. The fire is still burning, the tunnels are still open, the dream is still speaking, and it's not done with you yet. Love.